start streaming, and then I'm gonna play our theme song. Welcome to Pairing with Bunny. We have a theme song.
And a logo.
Isn't it cute?
It's so cute. I love it. I want to make stickers of it.
Ooh.
I think it looks perfect for stickers. It's so cute. I love it. I want to make stickers of it.
Is it playing?
I think it looks perfect for stickers. Okay. So, first order of business, there is a Pairing with Bunny Twitter now. So, at
Hold on,
Pairing
I'm pretty sure
Bunny.
I'm playing our own live stream back at us, which is confusing. Okay. There's a Twitter stream at Pairing Bunny?
Yes. It just has a couple posts now because I just started posting today, but that is the official Pairing with Bunny Twitter. So something I thought we could talk about today. So I had an assignment in in my course that I've been taking that I thought we could kind of talk about and go over. So the point was to create a function where you could give it the total amount of questions on a test, the total number of questions that the person got right on the test, and it would return a string with the percent that you got and what that is as a letter grade. So that was the assignment. This was my answer that I came up with, which works. It does return what it's supposed to return. And then this is how he did it when he put in his result. And I'm sure that there are many, many other ways to do it, probably even better ways than this, but this was, what worked for the point that we're at in our course. So yeah, I just kind of thought we could talk about like the difference between these two and how to make it better. And I just want to make sure that I'm really like understanding exactly how the code flow is working. Because historically, I sometimes when I'm studying something, I don't always fully understand the meaning behind it because I'm really good at tests. So like I'm naturally really good at guessing the right answer to something, even if it's not something I fully comprehend. I'm really good at like spitting back information in the short term without fully like understanding it. So I'm sure that is not what is happening with my programming so far. Because a lot of things you can get away with it by just being good at taking tests. But programming, I feel like you have to really actually understand what every single piece of the code is doing, not just, well, I know if I put in this keyword, it'll do this, even though I don't really understand why.
Yeah, because with programming, unlike tests, you're doing something new every time.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just regurgitating information. It's actually creating something new, which you can't do if you don't have a fundamental understanding of what it's doing.
At some point when you're like using other people's libraries and stuff, you try something, you observe that it works, and you go with it.
Yeah.
But at this level of you do need to understand how your programming language works, and that part is even possible. Understanding everything in like React or some other library that other people write, you're not going to.
Yeah.
And those you kind of just experiment.
Can you hear him barking?
I can hear Roswell, yeah.
Hold on.
It's fine. He's cute.
Downstairs.
Dogs are cute when they don't chew your books.
Let me see you.
The question is, can I get Rachel to be a functional programmer? Okay.
You like my Bob's Equipment Repair?
I do. I do.
That's my grandpa-in-law's shop.
Awesome.
Okay, so, and this also I think is pretty illustrative of where I'm at as a code newbie. So still very, very new. Like I do know how to make functions that do things, but I mean, as you can see, it's still just learning about functions. Okay.
Wait.
So,
Show me the very bottom there of that again. Okay, so it's returning a string, and then we console.log the string at the end. Okay, so what do you like better about the class solution at the bottom?
So I like that it doesn't have all the console.logs over and over again.
Mhm.
When I did this, I had not yet fully realized that you could return a string
Mm.
without having like some sort of console.log here. Now I know that if there isn't some sort of console.log, it will return this, but it won't do anything with it. You won't see it when you run it. You have to have the console.log in order to see it. But I
Mhm.
just didn't realize that you could do that, that you could basically take the entire output of a function and return it as a string and then call console.log on that function return. I thought I had to do it like bit by bit and return it each time rather than what he did here, which is
Bit by bit and return it each time.
it's hard to understand or I mean, it's hard to like explain my understanding of this. I know that my vocab is probably
Oh yeah, yeah. That's actually a big part of the learning is getting a grasp on the vocabulary. Would you please put a space before the 59 on line 14?
oh yeah.
There's that. That's just me being retentive.
No, that's totally
Thanks.
understandable. There's no reason to have spaces here and then not have a space on the final one.
Once I noticed it, I just couldn't handle it. It's fine. It's fine.
So yeah, so I've got pretty good at the part of yeah, like breaking it down and understanding how it works. So here you create the function, give it its two arguments, you tell it that you want to return this part,
Mm-hmm.
which is the percent or the your grade, because then this, when it runs, gets assigned to the value of your grade. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
function call gets assigned to that. Then I busted it into all these little ones. So it runs this line. If it works, then it console.logs. If not, it goes to the next one. If not, it goes to the next one, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. Like I got
Right.
hung up at first because I started putting in like these huge lines in the if statement. I was like, okay, so for an A, I was like, if it's greater than, or for the B, I guess, I was like, okay, so if it's greater than 80 and less than seven, like I had these
Mm-hmm.
huge things, and then I realized that that wasn't necessary because it won't return to this line once it has already passed it. Like I don't need to tell it that a B is greater than 80 and
Less
less than
than
90
90.
because it's already done with this. It's not going to jump back up there. So that
Yeah,
was
that
something
condition
that
is already met.
I had to figure out the first time because yeah, I had like these huge things typed out on every single one of them. It was like and less than or equal, and then I realized I didn't do that. Oops, I deleted too much.
Okay.
So yeah, I just thought
You're right that the console.log being exactly once and only at the end is better. It's more, I don't know, it's more
streamlined.
functional. It's more, so it's more conceptually organized because console.log is a side effect. So the definition of side effect is anything that affects the world outside of your program. Console.log affects the world because it prints something to the screen that you as a human can see
It doesn't just store the value
in
somewhere
memory.
within itself. It actually outputs
Yeah.
the value.
If it stored the value in a database or in a file, that would also be a side effect because that's
Because you can
accessible
access that file.
from outside the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The opposite of side effects is a pure function. I hate the word because it smacks of morality, but a pure function or a side effect free function or a data in, data out function. I like the phrase data in, data out. Only does a calculation and is only detectable in like the memory that the program accesses. It doesn't impact the world. So when the console.log happens at the very end, it's like, okay, we're going to make all the decisions and we're going to do all the calculations, and only then are we going to impact the world in exactly one place. So it's
Yeah.
good. It's good for that.
And I like that this takes out the superfluous need to type like this part over and
That
over.
repetitive bit.
This part doesn't change at all in any of the sentences.
It does though.
This
Yeah.
part that changes. So like I like that too, that instead of having to type you got a for each of these, it's you're able to just put it there and then just place the different value of each of these in there. But yeah, I would not have thought.
Except you got a F.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about
There
that.
actually is a difference. So your part where it repeats some of the phrasing, I think that's actually better. I mean, there's an advantage to that. It's a negative in some ways, and we could split it up again. But it has the positive of you're able to make an A and F. So you're able to make it like more customized to what you're actually saying. And D doesn't have an exclamation point on it. Is that meaningful? Is that an improvement?
Oh no,
is
that was
an
just
accidental inconsistency?
that was accidental.
Okay, Rach, you have hit on one of the core trade-offs in program design, which is the trade-off between repeating yourself but being able to customize it a little more versus repeating yourself and accidental inconsistencies. So,
So the more you repeat yourself, the more you open yourself up to potentially having a lack of consistency, or open yourself up to potential errors like in the sentence. But like you said, then you can customize it each time.
yeah, and look at you got to see your grade.
Oops.
On line 11. So there's unintentional inconsistency, but there's also some intentional inconsistency. I mean, maybe a B is not exciting enough to have an exclamation point, and the A and thing. So the eliminating duplication helps with consistency, which computers are really good at, but it makes the program kind of less human in some ways, because then you're stuck with that consistency, and so you lose flexibility. Here we're able to we could add some judgment to each statement. We could say, good job, you got an A with blah, and oh my god, you got an F. We have the potential to add some meaningful variation. Yeah, so there was that advantage, the A and thing. At least.
So which do you think is better? So another difference is that I call the function relatively early on, and then I mess around with the result of that function. And then he basically sets the conditions of that function first, then he calls it.
Oh my god. No, wait, there's a bug, Rach.
What?
Would you
I was just typing this from his screen. I might have missed something.
Oh, okay, yeah. Notice on line 20 how total is grayed out? That is the IDE giving you a clue.
Line it's 20. Because I already put it up here.
Yeah, but look, so that is telling you that total is unused in that function, which is bad.
Oh, I realize it's because I put it as total here, but down there it's total score.
Yeah. So we should always run it. Let's just run this file, would you?
Yeah. Hold on. Oh, what did I name this file?
Do you want a secret?
Oh, I did it. Okay, I got it. There we go. Nope, I did something wrong.
Wait, no, stop. Read the error. Go back and read this is one of the hardest things. I always want to be like, I can spot it.
Right here. Line 20, function has already been declared. Oh, that's because he and I used the same thing in both of our functions. So in order to run these on the same page, I need to change one of these.
Okay.
See, look, they're the same.
Go ahead and do that.
Okay, so we'll just change this to grade calc 2. Okay, and that's the only instance of that. Okay, so there we go.
Okay, you got a D with a 60%. You got a F, 50.
Because in this one I had put in 6 and 10, and on this one I had
Mhm.
10 and 20. So let's make those the same just for, okay. So then we should get, yeah.
Okay. Oh, so all right. So it's consistent with each other. All right. Let's work on making yours. Let's do a bunch of little fiddly little things to make it pretty
Okay.
in my highly opinionated style. All right. So one thing that he has one big function that does all of the thinking. And your function does some of the thinking, but not all of it. However,
Right.
there's something I like better about your function,
Yeah.
which is that it does exactly one thing. So your function is good, but let's be really specific about what it does. It calculates a percentage grade.
Mm-hmm.
So can we rename your function to calculate percentage grade?
That makes sense because the grade being calculated is this part. It's
Well, there's
not
two grades, right?
part.
There's a letter grade and a percentage grade, and we calculate each of them.
So let's do, so let calculate percent.
Okay, can we spell it out? Because letters are cheap. Calculate percentage grade. Okay, cool. Yeah, one thing I have learned from pairing with Rod specifically, as the author of Spring, he is very careful with naming. And also, I was pairing with someone else, with Eric Evans the other day, and I noticed that he is careful with his naming too because he was writing another version of something he'd written before. He was doing like a web app version of something that he'd written in Clojure, and he figured out that he needed to group this list in a certain way, and it was actually kind of complicated to do it. So it was going to be a fair amount of logic, but then it occurred to him to see whether he had done that in the old version, and the function he had started had the exact same name. He found that exact same name in the old stuff and was able to just copy it over. Because if you're careful with naming, then you can find stuff and you wind up with a lot less unintentional duplication. Just because
Yeah, and it's a good habit to
to.
get into because I mean, like, you know, yeah, for the purposes of just doing a little challenge for um, a video course, you know, it's not that crucial what I name it because I'm just going to be messing with it for, you know, 10 minutes and it's only me that's going to be accessing it. But if I eventually want to get like a job doing programming, I need to get in the habit of making sure that my stuff would make clear sense to people who weren't me, and also that if it was the same project that I was working on for a long time, that then I wouldn't have to worry about like, oh wait, what did I, you know, what did I call this?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you can learn the mechanics from a course. I'm here to teach you aesthetics.
Yeah.
Okay, and one of those aesthetics is start with naming things exactly what they are. Okay, so I like your calculate percentage grade function because it does exactly one thing. It returns a percentage grade. Now we don't have types here. That's okay. We're not getting into TypeScript yet. So you just have to keep in your head that what that returns is a percentage, because score, total, and the percentage grade are all numbers. JavaScript doesn't know which is which. It thinks it can use them interchangeably. So we have to be careful about only using them where they're meaningful. So what if we made the other thing that we need to calculate, there's really three calculations here. Percentage grade, which feeds into letter grade, and then both of those feed into the string.
The string. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, that string feeds into console.log. Okay, so what if we made a function that just gets the letter grade based on the percentage grade?
Okay, so this would go after here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here I'm just giving myself some space. Okay, so that just gives you letter. So how about let get letter grade?
Calculate.
Calculate. Oh yeah, to match the other one.
We're being consistent, yeah.
Calculate. Oops. Okay.
And then we're going to get, yeah, what are we going to call our parameter?
So what's going to get passed into that is the return of calculate percentage grade is what we need to pass into then this function.
Correct.
So do we need to assign the return of this to a variable like the way that we did here, and then we can make that variable the argument here?
Yes, and let's go ahead and do that. So you can leave this empty function, it's not doing anything. Currently, let's see, we're calling your grade equals calculate percentage grade. But your grade is ambiguous. There are two types of grades. So can we rename that to your percentage grade?
Yeah, so should I take this out or just leave it here for now, all this stuff?
Leave it here because we're gradually changing it.
Okay.
So I shouldn't have had you start that second function yet because we should be consistent. Whatever, it's fine. We're just rename that. Push F2, please.
Oh, that brought up my music.
Function F2. You're on a Windows computer. Control Shift P. Rename. Oh, come on, VS Code. What are you doing? Does it not know how to rename this variable?
That's okay. I'll figure that. I can figure that out later. Okay, so what this variable is going to be, so we can take this out right now, because right now we're not passing anything into it. Because right now your grade, it is the final grade, it's this. But if we just want to assign this, then it would be, okay, so your percentage grade equals this. And so then would that be the argument in this function?
Okay, wait. No. First, you haven't completely renamed the variable because you need to also rename all the usages. Please cut and paste that.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay.
Yeah,
and VS Code should do this for you. We might need like to turn on JavaScript plugin or something.
Okay.
You missed it on line 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about it in the template string, yeah.
Okay, and once we've done this, we need to run it again and make sure we haven't screwed it up. Because the thing is, you want to make as small a change as possible and test it. Small a change as possible and test it. And the reason is, when you do screw something up, you want to know about it immediately, and you want to know, oh, the thing that I just did is where I screwed it up. You don't want to be like, oh crap, one of the 10 things that I just did screwed it up and I don't know which.
Okay, so as of right now, we're still good.
Yes. Okay, so now we can do the next small change. Yeah. So now let's pick out. Yeah, we're gonna separate the calculation of the letter from other things. So we need a parameter in to calculate letter grade. And
so wouldn't that be the result of running this function? Because that puts the percent in there, and then based on what percent it is how you calculate the letter grade?
Well, it will be, but not inherently. I mean, it happens that that's what we're going to pass it, but really we're going to, any percentage grade. If you can supply a percentage, then this function can supply you a letter.
Yeah.
So I would just name it percentage grade, because it doesn't have to be your percentage grade. It could be my percentage grade or Spock's percentage grade.
Why is this?
Does it say that it's declared but not used?
Yeah.
Because it's not used yet.
Declared but never read.
Because we haven't used it yet. So it's
okay.
Kind of reminding you, hey, you probably want to use this parameter. So now, yeah, go ahead and make that function return the letter based on that percentage grade. What is that going to do?
Oh, that was just reading it from below there. Okay, so we wanted to return the letter grade. Are we wanting to return the string that tells you what grade you got?
Just the letter. One thing at a time. Tiny functions.
Okay, so when you say return the letter, do we mean the actual letter or is something storing the data of whatever letter it is? Like, are we creating a new variable here?
Oh, you don't have to. FYI, you don't have to. Let's, as simple as possible, and then we'll test it. Return A. Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and call the function and make sure it does what we think, which what we think right now is that it's going to return A. So we've got your percentage grade. Give it some sort of, give it an argument. Yeah, okay.
Oops.
But now we calculated it, but we did not include it in any side effects. So we cannot detect that we calculated it. So like console.log it or something. Or maybe we should put, I'm tempted to put, go ahead and at the bottom of like your, okay, this is the new stuff. So at the bottom of the new stuff here, let's do our console.log that we want.
Oh wait, if we're gonna, this is gonna need to be a template string, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, and then we'll just do that, and that would be the letter grade. We don't have anything that's just letter grade. We have your percentage grade, but we don't have anything that is your letter grade.
Yeah, go ahead and type it anyway. Type what you want to type there. Yeah, this is a good way to, one way to program is to start with the end result you want, which is to be able to console.log you got your letter grade, and then make it work. Like now that you've typed it in there, go make a variable on line 9 and store the result of calculate letter grade in it.
Okay, so to store the results of that, would that be
something like that, yeah. Except you need like a letter, a const in front of it.
Huh?
I'll just try running it and see what happens.
Oh,
You got A.
so it ran. I mean, it console.log what we returned here, which was A.
JavaScript. Please put either let or const in front of your letter grade. On line 9, preferably
There.
const.
Oh.
Yeah. No, just the keyword const.
I thought, isn't that what I put? Oh no, that's right.
Okay, there. Yeah. Apparently JavaScript is letting you use variables that you haven't declared, but let's declare them and say the const makes it official and makes it so you can't change it later.
Yeah.
Your lets on 2 and 6 could also be const. Yeah. It's const is just it's better.
Right, yeah, const means that you can't change it later. Let means that you can change it later.
Right. And if you use const consistently, unless you're going to change it later, then the difference when you do use let becomes information. Because that is a clue to the reader of your code that this one is going to be changed later. Okay, so it did say you got A. Why did it say? Oh, because calculate letter grade doesn't even look at the percentage; it just always returns A. That's
as of right now, calculate letter grade, all it does is return A.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Okay, but at least we're able to wire that up. Right. So let's go ahead and make ourselves a problem. See if you can get calculate letter grade to care about its argument. and select which letter to return.
Okay, so then we would need to that.
No. Okay.
Because
No.
that's where we get the percent from, and that's
That
what
is
we need the percent to go in here.
also okay. No. Hold on. Something's wrong. I'm not sure where. Um. Okay. I'm not sure where it may just be that I'm not communicating what I'm asking for, because some of that is true. But let's define all the functions before we call them. Um, and okay, so just within the calculate letter grade function, only change things inside that function,
Okay.
but make it actually like choose the letter to return.
Okay, so yeah, we still don't have anything coming from this because it's not defined anywhere.
It's defined right there. Hold on. A parameter is a definition. So when you say const or let, you are creating a variable, right? And you're giving it a name. And that creates a space in memory, in the program's memory. When you have a function parameter and you give it a name like this, that counts as creating a variable too.
Okay.
So when you have a parameter to a function, that creates a space in memory for that thing. So, but since it's a function, we can write the function before we ever know what's going to go in there. The function
Okay.
just says there's a space for percentage grade. Whoever calls me is going to fill that space in before I get activated. But I can just figure percentage grade is there.
Okay.
So you can use percentage grade. You have, by naming the function parameter that, you have created it for the purposes of that function.
So here is where we're going to have to put. Hold on, but this will need to be.
Yes, yes.
Okay, but I want it to look like this. So if percentage grade is greater than or equal to 90.
Yes.
Turn A.
If you save that, you'll probably, does it format it for you? Apparently not. Okay, good. You didn't get A.
Because there wasn't anything filled in for percentage grade, so it didn't have anything to compare it against, and so that's why it's undefined.
Yes, because we called it without passing anything.
Yeah, see, I know stuff.
Yay. Okay, so fix that on like line 11, 12.
Fix what here?
Fix the part where when we call calculate letter grade, we didn't pass it anything.
Oh, I see. So, on here?
Yeah.
So why don't we pass it 91 here?
Okay.
You got an A.
Okay. Cool.
And so I'm guessing that if it does not satisfy that condition, it's going to be undefined again, right?
Excellent test. Good job.
That's right. Okay. So that works.
Well, it works for A, but now let's add something at the bottom as a fall through. It's usually a good idea to, you never want this function to return undefined. So give it like a last condition, like return F or something at the, no. Well, it suitably told you that was angry. Yeah. You can give it an else, or you can just put the return outside the function. You're fine. Start with else. This is good. Else, yeah. Okay, yeah. What do you expect that to be?
So if it was a pass-fail test.
There you go. That is A or F. There it is. What did you pass at 80? Your 80 is an F. Okay, could you put some spaces on line 8 for me, please? Thanks. All right, now one thing to note is that return exits the function. So if you take out the else on line 9, and the curlies, and then, yeah, that's the same. Do you see why that's the same?
Because it doesn't satisfy the condition of the if statement, so then it's just going to go to the next line of code, which is return F.
True. But if you do have an A, what happens when you pass it 90?
Then it's an A.
Right.
And then it doesn't run the F at all.
Yeah, because once the function hits a return, it's done.
Okay. It won't look at any other returns until it is outside that code block and into the next.
Yeah, it's done. The return is like, we are finished here, and it doesn't matter what else is in that function. It's done.
Oh, okay. So a return statement is like an if and an else if statement in that case, where it says as soon as it hits one that qualifies, it does that, and then it doesn't bother reading the rest of the code block.
Yes. That return statement means it's going to ignore the rest of the function because it's already got its return value.
Which is the same like here. As soon as it hits one of these, that as soon as it hits one of these where it's true, it's not even going to read these other ones.
Because of the else. Yeah. If you missed an else, then it would.
Yeah.
But so the return saves you from all these elses. So that makes it a little shorter. Because you can go ahead and add the other ifs if you want.
Okay.
But when you return from inside the if, you never have to worry about else. Because the return is taking care of ending this function execution.
Okay, so if I wanted to, I wouldn't have to do any else ifs. I could just continue to do this.
Yep.
Oops. Like that.
Yes. Although you should put a return on line 9 before the if.
Here?
Yeah. No. I mean, hit enter, a new line. You should put a new line there.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, good. I don't understand like what you were going with on that. So,
yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh yeah, so it lines up there. Oh, good.
Yes.
When I thought you said put a return in front of that,
sorry.
I was like,
I meant a new line.
Clearly I don't know. I was like, that means I am not understanding this.
That's totally confusing. Okay, yeah. So
but that way, yeah, all the returns line up. So then and then I could just continue doing that. Except on so forth and so. I guess there's just one left, so I'll go ahead and do that.
Might as well just do it. Some people prefer to type, some people prefer to cut and paste. You just got that one backwards. Okay, good.
Yeah. 60.
My VS Code will format on save, but yours is apparently not set to format on save. Because that would like add the spaces where they belong and stuff like that.
Okay, and then hold on, these don't all look the same, so I should.
Hold on, let's try a trick. Control Shift P, and say format. Format document. Doop.
Oh, nice.
Okay, now Control Shift P. Settings. Yeah. Open settings. And then within settings, let's search for format. Format on save. Please check that. Yep. That way, whenever you hit like Control S, it will format your code.
Cool.
And save it. Good, because little stuff like those spaces and things, a computer should do that. Do you see why it moves it over?
Yeah, I see why it moves it over, but I like it for them to all be in a line. But I get it because that's like the end.
Yeah, and it's nice to end with a return so that you never return undefined. Yeah. Accidentally. Like earlier we were accidentally returning undefined. Okay.
Okay, 76 should return a C.
You got C.
Yes.
Okay. So now we have a way to calculate the percentage and a way to calculate the letter.
Hold on, I want to like separate these out. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and reorganize that stuff.
Some of that I deleted. That was down there. This is all this. Oh wait, that still went with this one. Hold on.
You can delete those if you want, like line 28 through 38. We can be okay. You can delete all of them. That works too. There we go. Okay, now we're cleaner.
Oh, and I missed one. Hold on, because that one. Wait.
We kind of want that.
Yeah. We want that. Okay.
It's okay. Yeah. So you got C. All right, but we're not. Go ahead move your console.log to the very bottom, because that's what we want to end with. We want to end with console.log with the side effect.
Are we doing anything with this?
Not yet. Do you want to print? Do you want to add it to your string that you print out?
Nah.
You don't want to print out the percentage?
I guess so. So if we did that, I just like, we're not using these arguments at any point, are we? We're just using this.
Yeah, which we need to change.
Yeah, so, okay. You got blank with a, oops. Percent. Okay. So that shouldn't change anything. Oh, no, it did change it. Use the result of this. So then, oops. Sorry, I thought that I hit the thing.
There you go. So try that. What do you think it's going to do?
Okay, so it's going to it's going to run your percentage grade, which is going to deliver that. Hold on, wait. Calculate percentage grade, and then that takes it up here. And so that'll return it as a 60%, which is then going to put 60% in here, which is then going to pass 60% over to where? Because right now this is getting the percent from here. It's not getting the percent.
FYI, line 22 is doing nothing except distracting you. It
does
nothing. Okay, good.
Okay, so right now if we run it, well, we should get the percentage, but not a letter. Oh, well. Great. Your percentage grade is not defined. Okay, yeah, we had that earlier. So that.
Read the error message carefully. Make sure you look at the line number. One of the hardest things is reading error messages, and it's so important to read carefully.
Sure. Do these need to be the same? No, because that's your percentage grade is here. It calculates it there, but then we need it here.
Yep, so percentage grade in the function, that name only exists in the function, and it's got its own little space on the stack. It's called this portion of memory that belongs only to this function.
Yeah.
But it gets populated when it goes in. But that's okay. The reference error is not complaining about the function. It doesn't care. It's complaining at line 21. So why is your percentage grade not defined on line 21? Can you tell?
Is it because it's defined down here instead of above it? So if I take this and then I put it there, gonna give me a different thing? Yeah. Oh my God, I was right.
Yeah. In a compiled language, it would give you a compile error and it wouldn't let you try to run it. But this is JavaScript. It lets you try to run it, but it's nice enough now, it wasn't always, to, instead of just using undefined, to tell you you don't have this variable yet. That
Yep,
variable
and so
doesn't
that's
come
why
into being
it's defined
until
on the next line.
right. So
Okay.
if you were in Excel, if you were working in a spreadsheet, one of the really amazing things about Excel is you can reference other cells anywhere. And Excel calculates all of them all at the same time, and it's like, oh, you need this one now? Well, I'll go calculate this one. Oh, that one needs this one. I'll go calculate this one. Da-da-da. And it figures all this out and lines it up. Excel is an amazing programming language. But procedural programming languages like JavaScript do, and so you have to get the order. You have to pick the order.
Yeah, it has to be in the right order, and you have to keep an eye on the scope. Right? I just took a course about scope.
Okay.
That
cool.
things that are used only within the curly braces of, for example, a function are not going to work. Like if you define a variable in the local scope of a function, you're not going to be able to call that variable when you're back in the global scope of your file.
Yeah. And JavaScript is especially confusing with scope, but if you stick with let and const, and always declare your variables with let or const, then it makes sense and it sticks with curly brace scope and it's okay. Like other programming languages do. Lexical scope, it's called. It's fine. Right. So this is better. Now you have two functions. One calculates the percentage and the other one calculates the letter. And then you console.log it. Now there's still one conflation, which is we could make a separate function to construct the string if you wanted.
So like a different function that then would return the string?
Yeah, let's take a function. It'll be data in, data out, and the in will be your letter and your percentage, and the out will be a string.
Okay.
Okay, put it just aesthetically. Just put it up with your in your function defining section.
Oops.
Because there's an ordering here of defining the functions, calling the functions, side effect.
Okay, so let's say we want this to return this string. So let's say letter grade string equals function.
Naming.
Okay, and what we want it to return is going to be this, right?
Yes.
Oops, didn't mean to do that, but okay. Okay, and it doesn't need parentheses in here, so that's that. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna quibble with you about the name. Letter grade string is a noun. A function is usually a verb. I would call it format grade, or yeah. And what does it format? Yeah, it's okay. All right, good enough. Yep. Okay, now see if you can call your function, because you're not calling it.
Oh, duh. I always forget that part. I did that too when I first did my part of the assignment. I did the whole thing and I was like, yes, like I know this is going to work. And I went to like run it and nothing. And I was like, oh yeah, because I didn't actually call it, built it, and it works, but I didn't do anything with it. Okay, so now if we try to run it, it's going to return undefined or an error.
Now read this very carefully. What is
Line
happening
23,
here?
your letter grade is not defined. It's because it's trying to pull your letter grade here, but it's not defined until here.
Yeah, but it would be terrible if you used it within a function. Well, I mean, that would work as a closure, but that is not our intention. There's a reason we put our functions at the top. Oh, now I know why I want them at the top. And it's so that we don't accidentally use global scope variables, because we declared all our global scope variables down lower. Yeah. So do you know what to do next with that? Because the format grade string, it needs a letter grade, but where should it get that?
It could get it in the arguments that I pass it.
That's correct.
But would I be passing it, like, does it want to get past the numbers or the actual?
Well, what does it need to produce the string? What does it need to figure out how to make the string?
Well, putting your letter grade here is still not going to work because it's still only defined later on.
Yeah, you can't call the function, you can't format the string before you calculate percentage grade and letter grade, so you're going to need to move that call down.
Okay, but I could put them in here because that's what we did earlier. And it doesn't matter if they're not defined here because they are only existing in the function.
And I would encourage you to.
That and it's just going to not return anything for that, but it didn't give us an error.
It didn't give us an error, yeah. Because we did call the function, we did nothing with the return, and we passed it undefined for those, but this is okay.
Okay, but
in fact, I would encourage you to rename your letter grade to just letter grade in that function.
Okay.
Partly because it doesn't have to be your letter grade. Well, it kind of does since we're addressing you. So I guess, okay, lowercase l.
Oh, right.
JavaScript will work with uppercase, but that's
not how it's done.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that should still return our previous program and nothing for that one.
Okay. Because we're not doing anything with the output. So can we console.log the output of format grade string?
Yes. So to do that, I would need to, okay, I could assign a variable for the result of this, and then I could console.log that variable.
Yeah, good idea.
Or no, wait, can I just do this, or does that not work?
You can. Yeah, that's fine. You can do that instead. Just move it to the bottom for me because I want the console.log to be the last thing.
Like that?
Cool. Yeah,
Will
so
that
now
work?
it's going to print twice, and that's fine. You got undefined with the undefined.
And that's because I didn't pass it anything in here. So now all of our stuff is defined. So now I could pass your letter grade and your percentage. Oops. God damn it. Yes, take it. Okay, hold on. Now there's, okay, no, we want that. Now, if we run it, it'll work because it's pulling from these, which are defined here above it, and going back in.
So
that returns.
Yeah, so you can delete line 28 if you want. So we're only doing it once because now you've got it right. Okay, now that we have format grade string as a function, you got a B with 80%. Good. It bugs me that we don't like put score and total into stuff with names, but we're gonna live. Now that we have that in a function, we have the option of adding additional functionality because we could have it say you got a letter grade, but we could have it say, oh, actually, if you got an A or an F, I'm going to say you got an. So you could add your the additional functionality that you had of getting the A or an right within format grade string without coupling it with also the calculation of the letter.
Because it's broken out into its own function.
Because our functions are each doing exactly one thing.
Okay, so
we
could do that as doing, okay, so if we made that into an if statement, then we could do, hold on, I'm just setting up the bare bones of the if statement here. So let's give it that. Okay.
If you hit Control S, it'll format for you.
Boop. Okay. So in that case, it would be if letter grade equals, so this is the one without an and. So actually, let's start with the and.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay. So if letter grade equals
triple equals
A or oh my god, I forgot where that was on my keyboard.
Oh, the pipe symbol? Yeah, that's a weird one.
If letter grade equals A or letter grade equals F, then return this, else.
You don't have to have the else, but you can if you want.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so it could just be return. Okay. Why is it grayed out here? Unreachable code.
Try running it. I do know why, but I want you to try running it. And I want you to see if you can interpret that error.
23. Okay, so it's got a problem with 23.
Read what it says. Read the error. Read it super carefully because it's got something to teach you. If invalid left-hand side in assignment, and look at what it's pointing at.
It's pointing at the A and it's pointing at this part here. So it doesn't have a problem with letter grade equals or this part, just
it doesn't get to the stuff on the right. Okay, and what is it talking about?
It's talking about this.
It says invalid left-hand side in assignment. It's talking about assignment because you used single equals.
Oh, duh, you're right. That makes complete sense.
In JavaScript,
okay.
always use triple equals. Double equals is stupid. So use triple equals.
When you're doing operators or comparisons.
Please put an additional equal sign on each of those.
Yeah, you do is equal. I did.
No, another one.
Oh, 3. That's right.
Yeah.
3
because double equals for historical reasons does stupid stuff in JavaScript.
Okay, nope, yeah, that was just I just forgot that.
There you go.
Yeah, if you're assigning something, then it's one equal sign. If you're saying something is equal to, then it's 3. I think I would have remembered that because I wrote it down in my little notebook.
It's confusing, but I wanted to make sure. True, false, triple equals. Aw.
I still forgot.
I wanted to make sure that you looked at the error message, because if I can teach you nothing else today, the biggest thing is to read error messages carefully. I'm not always good about that, and I always regret it.
Okay, so it worked with a B. So now let's double check. And there's the and.
Yay!
That is better.
Check it with an F too.
Oh, check it with an F, yeah.
Yay. Okay, so now you've got your additional functionality. But you've separated the part about the language from which letter to pick. Yay.
Because it would have been a lot harder to get this conditional string formatting if all of this was one function compared to here where the string itself is just one function. There's no math going on, there's no calculations, it is just about what to return as the function, as the string.
At the very bottom, we have this final side effect.
And then we have one console.log.
Now, I would argue that it was pretty easy to get the and for an F, an and for an A.
I did, that part. Well, other than
when you had it conflated. When this was like all one function, it was kind of easier to get the and and F, but you had inconsistencies in there. Now you have consistency because there's only 2 and they're right there next to each other, but you still have the inconsistency that you want, and it's very specific about why you want it. Because before you had if percentage grade is greater than 90, you got an A. But now we can notice that the reason A or an is different is not about your percentage. It's about the letters A and F.
Because the difference between A and doesn't have anything to do with math. It has to do with the English language. It has to do with A versus F, not 50% versus 90%.
Exactly. So your code is expressing that now. So now yours is better than theirs.
Yay. And I mean, and his, I'm sure that he would have known how to do this. He's just limited in what he can do because of what point in the course we're at.
Well, and I mean, explaining why you would do it this way is a bit more, is a bit beyond the scope of the lesson, but that's okay. That's why we do this. All right, that was great. Yeah. Good exercise, Bunny.
Thank you. Okay.
Hold on, I'm going to play our theme song again.
I really like how it noodles right at the end.
Oh, when it gets quiet?
Yeah. And then my friend Matt, who made it, he was like, I put in those like sparkly, tinkly sounds at the end. Thought you'd like it.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop streaming.
Okay.